Hey guys, Liquid Fire here. Thanks for joining me again tonight. So we are back in Way of the Hunter, and we are going to do kind of a deep dive. It's not a normal kind of deep dive, but it is a deep dive of sorts, um, and kind of get into a requested video. So Luke Ramsey, or DR7CB from the YouTube channel, asked if I could put together a video on how I efficiently cull whitetail. Well, the reality is, I don't think that I do the most efficient method of culling whitetail. I'm successful with it, but I can't say that I'm really efficient. So for me, what I generally do is I will go to a herd, I'll call out a low fit, take one animal, and move on. Quick and simple, that's it. Now, is it the most efficient? Not really. No, it's not. But when the game first came out, there was also an issue to where if you took too many animals out of a herd at once, you would pressure the herd literally off the map. So I don't mean pressuring it to their rare zone from there often. I mean literally off the map. They would be gone for days. So one of the ways to avoid that was to only shoot one animal and move on to the next herd. It just kept things nice and calm. You didn't have to worry about it changing zones, and it works great. It's also just kind of the way I hunt. To me, it felt more normal to just take one, let everything spook away, and move on to the next herd. So it fit my play style, and it kept me from having to deal with zones swapping around all the time. And I certainly didn't have to worry about pressuring any animals off of the map. But that's not the most efficient way. Now, there is probably several different ways you could do it to be more efficient. One of the more commonly discussed ways is age culling, where you go in, wipe out all the males in the herd, and then they're all the same age, so you can take out everything that's small, leave the biggest one, and let it feed to the next cycle. I mean, there's a whole mess with it. To me, that's not normal hunting. That's I don't want to say gaming the system, but in a way it kind of is. And I'm not judging you for doing it if that's what you want to do. It's your game, play it the way you want. But for me, it just didn't feel like hunting as much as it did manipulating. And it's just not something that I'm really interested in. Now, if I were trying to do something specific, then yeah, maybe I would do it. But I wanted to try to kind of give Luke something that's a little more in line with what I do. And I was struggling to come up with a way to make what I was doing really more efficient. Then there was a conversation I had in Discord with Joe Pro and Toothless. So Toothless takes out a lot of animals very commonly for the different things he's testing. And he does it in hiker mode. And he talked about calling them in and taking them out, and how quickly he could go through herds. And I didn't really dig in because it was hiker mode for one, and you can get by with a lot more without things spooking in hiker mode. So I just didn't really catch exactly what he was doing. Well, in Discord, Joe was talking about it, and I thought Joe was doing a very similar thing in Hunter. So that perked my ears up, and I was like, okay, now this might be something worth getting into and understanding a little better how it's working. So had some conversations, and basically what we're looking at is what I'm going to call stacking. And the idea is to call a bunch of deer from a herd directly to you. And by doing it in a specific way, you're able to shoot them without the entire herd spooking. So part of that comes from a change they made a long time ago, which allowed the animals to detether from the herd. So whenever the game first came out, if you took a shot at any animal in the herd, whether it was next to the herd or called into you from a distance, it would spook the entire herd instantly. So as soon as you hit it, it went into spook mode and spooked the entire herd, and there was no way around it. So they made a change to where they would detether animals that you called in. So in hunter mode, I tested it on elk. If they were more than 150 meters away, you could shoot that elk and it wouldn't spook the herd. It was effectively decoupled or detethered from the herd. which is a huge thing. That's a big change from the way it was. It's useful too. So what Toothless and Joe have done is taken that logic and applied it to some lower levels and discovered that you can actually call in a whole string of deer, take them out one at a time without spooking the herd. And that's what we're going to call stacking. And we're going to kind of go through how to do that in hiker mode. So we are actually in hiker mode. I know normally I'm in ranger, or not ranger. Normally I'm in hunter, sometimes in ranger. But today we are in hiker mode, and we're going to showcase how stacking works. Hopefully these deer don't walk off too far. So the first thing you want to do to stack is to set up about 200 meters from the herd. Normally this herd is back over in here, but since I've been standing here talking, they've decided to walk over here and lay down. They're a little closer than I would like, but we are in hiker, so we should be fine. But the idea is to set up a tower about 200 meters from the herd. And then you call the animals in and shoot them between 30 and 40 meters from the herd. So we're going to kind of take a look here on the ground, and we're just going to set up some, like an invisible fence, basically. Just an idea of roughly where we are. And we're going to mark the 30 meters and the 40 meters just to give us a rough area. Now I heard a pheasant walking in over here. We're going to get rid of him. I don't want anything over here spooking when I go to shoot. Alright, so he's gone. We got another one over here. We'll see if we can't either kill or spook it away. A little longer shot with the bear. I don't know if I got it or not. Looks like I did. Oh, nope, I missed. Let's try it again. I don't care if I kill it, I just want it to be gone. And we're in hiker mode, so I'm not too worried about spooking the deer. Did we get him? Yeah, we got him. All right. There may be another one over here. There's one that pops up over here. Yeah, let's go ahead and try to get rid of him too while we're at it. Again, I don't care if I kill him or just spook him. I just want him gone. Well, that didn't spook him. Alright, we're not going to fool around too much more. I don't want to push my luck too much. Alright, so these guys are moving back to their other position, so that's good. He seems to stay over there, so we're going to leave him alone. This guy would walk over in here. These guys come in over here. There's another one that pops up back here somewhere. So I've killed most of them just to keep them out of the way. And again, this is a backup save just for this particular example. Let's get rid of all these markers. Ooh, well, we'll have to put our ones on the ground again, but we'll get rid of all those back here. All right, so they're going to be in here, so we'll mark 40. And again, I'm not worried about it being exactly 40, just enough to give me an indicator, an idea of where I need to be at. Oh, wrong button. All right, so there's some ideas. So we're going to go ahead and call. And when I was testing this the other night, I noticed that it seemed to work best if you only shot one animal each time you called. So the idea is you need to get an instant kill, and you want them to be between 30 and 40 meters away. And I think for the best results, you want to try to do one animal per call. So that's what I'm going to go for. And I did see a few scenarios to where one animal out of the herd would spook. So like if we had, say, 5 coming in, maybe you shoot the second one, and then the third one would spook back a little bit, but not spook the other 2. I did see that a few times, and it wasn't spooking the herd. So I consider that a win. I'm not worried about it if that happens. What we are worried about and what we're trying to avoid, and let me call again before I forget, is what we don't want is to shoot the first one and have it spook the herd and everything else. So everything spooking is bad. And to do that, you need to get them between the 30 and 40 meter mark. You need to make an efficient single shot kill with a crossbow, or probably the bow, but something quiet. And you need to try to do one per call. So in hunter mode, it doesn't work very well unless they're really far apart. So if they're spaced really far apart, I got it to work once for a couple of kills, but I never had it work to where you could just stack them up and let them keep on coming in. I jumped down to hiker and I had a pile of deer. So there's definitely an advantage to running hiker, and that's why we're going to showcase this in hiker. And once we go through and kind of showcase how stacking works, then we'll talk about how we can leverage that same concept when you're doing your culling, and some thoughts and ideas I have around that. But first, we're going to go through and showcase how it works. Hopefully I don't screw it up. So we're just going to play the waiting game now for these guys to come in. What I don't want to do is lose them to the collar, let it time out too much and have them all run back. The more staggered they are, the better your chances seem to be of getting it to work. I did have a couple that were really close to each other in hiker mode, and it didn't spook the other one. So I don't want to say that they need to be spread apart, but it certainly appears to work better and more easily if they are. The other thing is, since it seems to like having only one shot per call, and by call I don't mean like full time out on the caller, but each time you call again on the caller. So like right now we're on one call, it's not timing out, but I'm calling again, that's a new call. So it seems to work best if you do it on two separate calls. And when you have two that are side by side, that makes this range of 30 to 40 really tight. And I don't know why, but that closer yardage does matter. So I had them spook out. I took one at 24 yards and it spooked the herd. I have no idea what the difference is. I don't know why there's that, kind of golden zone there, but it does appear to be 30 to 40 meters works out to be the most efficient. And again, this is not something that I came up with. It's not something that I've worked a lot with, done a lot of testing or anything. This is all Toothless and Joe, and I'm sure other people doing it. For me, it just never was an option. I was always a hunter anyway. So stacking like this, the way we're going to try to do it here, just doesn't work. All right, so we're getting closer. So we've got 68 yards, 67, where we're going to have to call again before they're close enough. But this should work out okay if I don't mess up the shot. They should be far enough apart, assuming the front one continues to walk in. They should be far enough apart to where I can shoot this one on one call and then shoot this one on the next call. Unless, of course, she stops like right now and this one closes in. It looks like we're going to be okay. So I'm going to get ready. And again, we want to be under 40, but over 30. All right, perfect. So that's what we're looking for. We put the arrow right through the lung. Instant kill. So now I'm not going to shoot this one, even if it makes it to 40. We'll call again. Whoops, we'll get to the right weapon. No, wrong weapon. I think it would work, but that's not what we're trying to do. All right, we're definitely in range. All right, so there's a second one down. These back three are going to make it difficult, I'm afraid. All right, so we're reloaded. We'll wait until they stop, and then we'll call again. So we'll pick the one that's closest and take them out first, which looks like it's probably going to be this girl. She's at 58, 56, 60. Yeah, we'll take her as soon as she gets under 40. Okay, so perfect. We're in the 15 to 20 second window, the shooting window as it were. So we got time to take the shot, call again. Now we'll go back to the crossbow. We'll see which one comes in. If she continues to stand still, we'll take this one out. Alright, we'll go ahead and take her. And this is the last one, so I'm not going to bother calling again. We'll just go ahead and take the shot. Oh. Alright, and there you have it. That's stacking. So you can see, let me turn that off so you can kind of, let me go ahead and clear the markers out too. We don't need, well, if I can get to it. All right, so there's kind of what we're looking at. Go get over there. So you've got all 5 of these within that 40-meter range. That one's reading further back, but that's probably just where I'm looking at through the binoculars. But you can see we took them all out. This one was the one that didn't matter. It was the closest. It was the last one we took. But all of these were stacked right on top of each other. We were able to shoot them without spooking the herd, without spooking the others. And if we look back here, the rest of the herd is still here doing its thing. So nothing got spooked. Now, again, this works best in hiker. It does not work nearly as well in hunter mode. So keep that in mind. The higher the mode, the more difficulty you're going to have getting it to work out, and the more precise you're going to have to be. Something that Joe mentioned is that he liked to call and then immediately shoot. And he wanted them to be as close to 40 meters as possible, which that gets tough. I mean, you saw how hard it was going to be to keep things lined up with 5 coming in. Normally, you're not going to have that many coming. But I think what he was actually doing, or potentially was doing, was getting it to where it was 1 per call cycle. So that works out for what we just did. Each of these were on their own unique call and nothing else spooked. If I'd tried to take 2 or 3 on the same call cycle, it seems like more often than not, things were spooking. And again, I am not the one who came up with this. I didn't discover it. I've learned it. Old dog, new tricks, all that good stuff. Toothless has been doing it for a long time, and I just didn't realize what he was doing. And then the conversation the other day in Discord kind of made me pay more attention and look at it. Again, it doesn't work as well in hunter mode, which is perfectly fine. I think it's reasonable. But some of the concepts, even though you're in hunter, could be used, like detethering. That's a key part. So what we're going to do now is jump out of this backup save, go into my real save. We're going to go ahead and jump our time to 11 a.m. So it'll be a drink time here in Nez Perce for the whitetails. And I'm going to take this approach and focus on going through and culling the whitetail in the grasslands. We are going to do it in hiker. That's not what I normally hunt, but to give it the best chance of success, we'll do it in hiker. And I want to make it something that's actually useful. So if it doesn't work because we're in hunter, that doesn't really help out a lot. So I want to show how it can work. So we're going to do it in hiker to make it a little bit easier on me, to be honest. But I'm going to approach it the way I really would. So the rest of the approach would be exactly the same whether it's in hunter or hiker. The only difference is how many we'll be able to stack up and easily work through. So we're going to pause things here. I'm going to close out the game, load in my real save file, go ahead and jump time and get ready to go. And what we'll do is I'll stop. Well, I'll showcase how I get things set up, and then I'll stop the recording until we get on the deer, because there's no point in making you guys watch me go from herd to herd to herd. But we'll go through the setup and everything, and showcase exactly how it works out and how I approach my herd management. All right, so we're going to pause and we'll be right back. All right, guys, so we are back ready to actually go through and cull everything. So we are in, well, can't see from there, we are in hiker mode. I did change out the gear a little bit. So I've got the Monoblock 308 and the Apex Predator for my weapons. And we'll talk through those selections here in just a minute. And of course, we've got all of our normal collars and everything else. We can change this guy out for the big brother. It doesn't really matter. But we're set up with the crossbow and a rifle and our deer collars. I did go ahead and jump the time almost to 11 o'clock so that we can chase deer on their drink zones. So this part we're really focused on doing an actual cull. So the first thing I would do, the approach that I take if I'm going to chase something specific, and we're talking just looking for whitetail. I'm not going to just do a walk down through here and cull whatever I want. I'm focused just on whitetail. Normally, I would just kind of go for a walk and take out whatever, but this is an efficient run. This is to focus on whitetail only. So what I would do is I would come down and I would look for whitetail zones. And in this case, I would show them and then I would mark where they're at. Now, this particular whitetail doesn't show up in single player. It's the solo that just disappears. You'll see him in multiplayer, but not in single player. So I'm not going to bother marking him. We'll take a look at this guy. Well, I didn't mean to mark it. We've got a drink zone here, and I don't seem to have his other drink zone. So what I would do is I would go look at next map. I would go find that particular deer, look at him and say, okay, his other drink zone is about here. And I would mark that. And what I would do is I would just go through, and I've already done the others, and mark all of the whitetail as far down as I want to go. And I'm looking to do all of the grasslands. So I marked everything down through Cottonwood, down through Rivermouth, and stopped once we get down here into the Cascade Forest. So all of these are places I want to go and stop along the way. I'm not going to do any out the little creek here. If they're not on the main branch or main river, then I'm just going to skip them for tonight. And we're going to focus on only whitetail down through the river. And again, this is drink time. We may or may not make it all the way through before they move, but this is our goal. So what I'm going to do now is ignore this first one. We know they're not going to be here. We're going to focus on getting to this point here as our first one. And again, I want to be about 200 meters away. So I'm going to set up across the creek here where we're a couple hundred meters away. So I want to be kind of somewhere in this area to where I can call them over to me and take out any low fits. I have no idea how many low fits I have. Couldn't tell you. We may only have a few. We may have a bunch. But what we're going to do is we're going to pause things. I'm going to jump into the UTV, and we're going to drive down to around this area, wherever we think a good place to stop is. I'll probably stop about 250 out, 300 out from this marker, and then try to kind of figure out where I need to go. And we'll unpause things once we get stopped there. Okay, so we didn't get to make it very far because the first zone is down here near the cabin. And we're about... I'm going to be going further. I wanted to kind of stop and show where we're at. So we're going to stop about here. And I just wanted to kind of drive in. And this is our final goal, is to be on this herd. So we're going to go ahead and drive on into about where I put that red marker. Okay, I stopped way short because I realized that I misjudged how far here to here was. So we're about 116 from the red marker. We're only about 250 from where the deer should be. So I don't want to drive in too much closer. And I apologize for all the extra blue markers, but that's my bear markers. I'm not looking to clear them out. So in order to be as efficient as possible, we want to make sure that they're here before we spend any time stalking in. And as we look, there's nothing here. Okay, so we know the time is 11. They should be here by now. We'll just kind of take a look around, see if there's anything close, like they may be walking in. I don't see anything. So that tells me that this particular herd, which was this guy? No, it was this guy. Where is it? Which guy was it? Yeah, it was this guy. He is not at this top zone, so we would expect him to be back in the woods here at this zone, which is going to be a little bit further down this way. So if we look... Well, yep, right there they are. So they're in this zone. So that makes perfect sense. So we know where they're at. We're going to go back to the UTV. And we're going to set up for that zone. Now hopefully you won't have 5,000 markers in your way like I do. So they're right here. I don't know where I marked the zone at on the map, but it doesn't appear to be right here. Let's make sure these are whitetail. Yep, that's them. So let's see where they're actually at on the map. So they're further back. I just missed where it was at. Okay, so we'll clear that. They're right here. So our range is 241. I want to be a little closer than that. So we're going to move in to we're about 200 meters out. And again, this is much easier when you don't have so much clutter in your screen. But we're at 200 now. So we're going to set up to call these guys from right here. So bring out the giraffe. Now you don't have to have the stands to do this. This just makes it a little bit easier to see. And we're wanting to be efficient. And we're only looking for low fit. So I'm going to make my first call. And I'm going to start scoping what we have in here. Just looking, yeah, maybe I'll find a 5-star. Maybe not. We'll see. Okay, so we have a 1-star young coming out. Now you'll notice I use the rattle bags. The reason I use the rattle bags for culling is they will call in young, adult, and mature, to where the deer grunt will only call in adult and mature, I believe, for the low fit. So we've got one coming in on the first call. So we're going to go ahead and make a second call as soon as it's ready. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Should be time. Now is when we need to start watching a little more closely. Do we see a second or third deer coming in? Because that's going to change our approach. If we only have one deer come in, we don't need to worry about stacking at all. We don't need to worry about using the crossbow. Oh, we got a second one coming in. So we're going to have to be a little more careful. So there's the second one. Here's our first one. And we're just going to keep calling every time they stop. There's our call. And we're going to keep watching. So we know we've got two coming in right now. We've got this young here. We've got this young here. And we're going to watch and see if any others start to come in. And don't be afraid to use your camera. Yeah, this is about being efficient. This is not about playing ranger and being as real as you can possibly be and all that. We're interested in efficiently taking out animals. So here we have two coming in. If we had only had one, I would just go ahead and say it was just this guy. I would just go ahead and take him out from here. I wouldn't bother with additional calls or anything. Oh, I hit the wrong button again. Now, keep in mind, you do run into issues getting deer to cross water sometimes. So they may walk down to it and walk way off to the side before they come in. They may get stuck. This guy, I don't know what he's doing. He may be stuck. And they may decide that they're just not going to cross this water at all. I've not tried calling these guys over enough while I'm paying attention to say whether or not they normally come on across. I assume they do. It's not like a deep river, so there's no reason for them to get stuck. They should be able to path around the deeper spots. But this is why I wanted to showcase actually doing it instead of just saying, well, this is what you do. We want to see what's actually happening. And it looks like this guy's going to come over and come across. And this is exactly why I recommend using the tower, because you have a much better line of sight to see what's going on. If we jump out of the tower, you can't tell at all what's going on. They're over there. We know they are, but it's much more difficult to understand what they're doing. By having the tower, we can see more. Even this guy in the tower, he's back here behind this stuff. So use your camera. Get an idea of what he's doing. All right, he's going to come across the water. And that's fine. That's all we need. Since there's only two of them, we just need one to come in close enough to take the shot. This one can stay right where he's at the whole time, and we'll just shoot him with a rifle after we shoot this one. And I don't know that I actually need to wait until he's at the 40-meter mark, but because that's the process that we're kind of working with, that's what I'm going to do. So that's going to be down here. Wow, he's going to actually have to come into the water. So about right here is our 40-yard mark, 40-meter mark. So we'll let him get down into this range. We'll pop him with a crossbow, and then we'll pop him with a 308. And again, he should still be coming across. So there he is. Now, in the past, what I would have done is I would have called him. Once I had this first one coming my way on the second call and definitely knew that it was low fit, I'd have took him out with a rifle and moved on. It would have been one, hopefully dead, but one shot, and that'd have been it. I'd have taken the one and moved on to the next herd. But since we're trying to be a little more efficient here, we're going to spend the time to call him in and see if we can't take out two at the same time. This should be mule deer down here. Yeah. And if we pick up a mule deer, I'm going to ignore them. I'm not going to cull them. If I see a 5, I'll probably just leave it and go back later and get it. Okay, so there's our deer popped out over here. Time to call. So I honestly suspect I could take him out at this range since this deer is so far away and it wouldn't be an issue. But we're not here to test the concepts. We're not here to play around with the yardage. We're going to go with what we know works and follow that logic. Now, when you're doing it on your own, if you want to try taking a longer shot when they're gapped apart like this, go for it. This guy's stuck here. He's not going anywhere. I think we could probably do it and not have a problem, but we're going to follow the rules that Toothless and Joe have laid out, the rules that we tested and showcased. So I suspect he's probably going to come across the creek at some point and then come this way, but we'll see. Maybe he walks right down the middle. Either way, he's going to be close enough, unless he gets stuck somewhere, on this call that we should be able to go ahead and take the shot. And again, I do want to focus on driving it through the lung. I like to take the inside lung. Instant drop. This guy's still here just fine. No need to rush. He's not going anywhere. We'll go ahead and check the collar and see if it's time to call again. It is. We'll call. He's not going anywhere. So now we'll go to the monoblock. And we'll try to put a good shot on him from right here. And he's going to go down. Perfect. So that was a good heart shot, cavity damage. Alright. Pick up our stand. We'll run over here. Probably should. Well, we'll go back to the Jeep. We'll pick these guys up, see what we got. So you can see that's that instant death through the lung, pushing it through the lung, longitudinally, whatever. Either way, through the length of the lung, and 49.77%. So right on the threshold. Get rid of him. And again, I'm not too worried about spooking other stuff. I'm focused on whitetail. Our next whitetail herd isn't until we get all the way down here. So I'm going to run and not worry about it. Hopefully I can get across this. Oh yeah, we're good. I don't know how I didn't have that zone. So we got, oh, it was actually penetration. I was expecting that to be cavity. But not instant, but very, very, very good. And 27%, so that's exactly what we're looking for to get rid of. And that's the key. When you're making the shot with a rifle, you want to make a really good shot so you don't have to track these guys. And that's where a lot of people are going to say, use the shotgun. Call them in closer, use the shotgun, big slug into the side, they die. It's very valid. It's a very good option. I don't know how on earth I still have any zones showing up in Nez Perce along the river with as much time as I spend here. Or have spent here, I should say. Alright, so that's our first one done. We're going to go back to the Jeep, and then we're going to drive down and do the same thing for this guy. So we know he's here. We'll stop the Jeep around here and go look and see which zone he's in. So I'm not going to make you guys go along for that, so we'll pause things here and pick up when we're on the next herd, wherever they're at. Alright guys, so our next little set of whitetail we're actually missing. So we've got these guys up here that we're going to call on and see if we get to call any from there. But our next two were supposed to be right here. Was this herd? And they weren't here. Don't know where they are. I'm not going to worry too much about it. He's technically should be part of, was it Small Paws over here? Yeah, he should be part of Small Paws anyway. But he was going to the river, so I was going to call him. But they're not here at all. No clue where he's at. Not too interested. Not going to bother with trying to find him. We'll just move on to the next herd, which was this group here, which I don't remember which herd they were from. Yeah, it's these guys. So they're here. So I know they're not going to be here at this marker, so I'm going to go ahead and clear that one so I don't confuse myself. So we know that they're here. We can see them. They're our whitetail. And we're going to go ahead and start calling them in. We set up about 200 meters from them, as you can see here. And we'll start our low fit call. And we'll see what we get. Okay, looks like we've got one responding already. And remember, this is the grassland, so it is a primary habitat for whitetail. So these guys could turn into fives, excuse me, 500s. You can get fives anywhere, but they could go to max size. But we've got one coming in. Now here we're going to be really paying attention to the second call. Okay, he's doing the weird head shake. You can see it in the distance. That's one of the bugs they have whenever they are at the end of their collar. You'll notice it happens, I don't say all the time, but fairly often. From a distance, they start doing that weird head shake thing. But we're going to watch if none of these others respond. And none of them are. So we'll pop into the camera mode to make sure there's none somewhere else that we're overlooking. They're not. So we've only got the one responding. So we don't need to bother with culling him all the way in. The problem we've ran into is he's dropped down into the river. So he's down here in the bottom. We can't see him. So we're going to have to keep culling until we get eyes on him. But we're not going to bother with getting to 40 meters or anything like that. All we're going to do is get him close enough to shoot, and then we'll move on to our next herd, which could be down here. So plenty far to where we can shoot with the rifle and not have to consider spooking anything. Now because of where he's at, we may end up having to move to get a shot further away. So he's potentially going to come up behind this. So we could come up here behind this brush, and technically we could move further to the right here just to open up a line of sight. I'm not going to bother with it tonight. We'll just see where he comes up at and take him wherever he comes. Hopefully he continues to the right a little bit and we get to take him out from the stand without having to call too many times. Oh, he's stopped again. Maybe time to call. Yep. Now we may be close enough to other herds to be calling other stuff in. Again, I'm not concerned with anything else coming in. All I'm interested in tonight is purely whitetail. So he should be coming across the water. There he is. Unfortunately, he's kind of going further left. Hopefully he zags a little more to the right for us and we get lucky, but we'll see. If I'd have been on the ball, I could have took him before he got off the hill. But talking and all that stuff kind of slowed things down a little bit. Yeah, see, we've got this guy coming in here. Look, I mean, we've got 3 different mule deer coming in that we need to cull. Now, we're not looking to cull a bunch of mule deer. We're talking about whitetail. Where is he at? So he's down here at the bottom. Well, you know what? Maybe I go ahead and try to do these guys. So the plan was to do all whitetail, but he's going to be... Let me go ahead and just mark a range here. These whitetail, or excuse me, mule deer are going to be a lot closer than him. Maybe I can go ahead and take them out and then take him out. Let's try it. It'd be nice to see bucks done instead of a bunch of does. Alright. We're going to try it. If we spook the whitetail, no biggie. We'll just continue working on these mule deer. Okay, so they stayed. He stayed. We're good. And we're just going to go back and forth and see if we get lucky enough to take all of them out. I know I'm supposed to be doing just whitetail, but if an opportunity like this presents itself, this is what I would really do. Alright. We may spook these guys over here when we take out the whitetail. We'll see what happens. Whew. That was a little left. We're good. We're good. So we've still got 2 coming in. He's going to be closing in on that 40-yard mark very soon. I don't want to take the second one on the same call, so I'm going to let him stop. Hopefully he stops soon. There we go. We'll call. Oops, wrong weapon. Luckily he's standing still for a minute. We'll take this shot. Oh, we've got 2 more coming in. Holy cow. Alright. How far away was he? Was he inside 40 or outside? Yeah, he was pretty close. Ooh. I would have preferred this guy to stop. That's alright. Alright, so this guy's our closer one. If things go well, we should be able to take him out. Not spook this guy because we're on a new call. Oh. And this guy's coming on in. That's the last one. Since he's the last one, we don't care about making additional calls, so we can just take him out whenever. There we go. That's just about the most perfect example I can give you of how I would really do it if I were stacking them up like this. I can't do this in Hunter, but in Hiker, that's exactly what I would do. That's the most efficient thing you can do. So let's go pick these guys up, see what they scored out as. So this guy was a 40%. And again, focused not on the heart, focused on the lungs, because we want to make sure we get that instant kill. Let's go over here and look at these guys. And you want to talk about stacked up. That is stacked right there, guys. I mean, that's about as stacked as you can get. Can't complain about that at all. Alright, so this sold mature 44%, 28%. And again, all about that lung, all about that lung. And trying to kind of showcase, I'm always taking that inside lung. I'm never trying to take the outside lung. I always focus on the inside one. 46%. And 39%. And that's it. We're done with, well, with an extra set of mule deer too. But we're done with this herd, these guys here. So our next spot is going to be here. So I'll run back to the Jeep and I'll set up. I don't know the terrain where I'll have a line of sight, but I'll stop somewhere around here. Whoops. Somewhere around here. And then try to figure out where I need to set up at to get on them. So we'll pause things and jump back in just a minute. All right, so I actually drove in a little closer than I meant to. We're only 216 from the herd. If we pop up the camera, we can see they are over here. So what I'm going to do is head this direction and try to kind of head towards the top of this hill and see if we can find a decent line of sight to where we can see them pretty good. This is looking like I would have to be a lot closer to have a good line of sight. So we're going to set up and rely more on the camera for this one. Again, do what works for you. If you don't feel comfortable using the camera, then don't. It's your game. You play it the way you want to. I'm going to use the camera. I mean, I'm in hiker, why not? I could probably get closer to them as well and not have to worry about being 150 meters out. But that's what we're going for. So let's get the call going. I hit the wrong button there. All right, so let's see if we get anything coming in. So it looks like we may have this guy. I'm not convinced yet. He could just be walking, but I think he looks like he's on a mission now. So it looks like he's probably low fit. We'll know for sure here in a minute. If he stops and starts again or calls out and stuff for us, he's coming. There's no doubt. So he should be stopping any second now. If we look, he's stopped. Yep. Call again. Now what I'm interested in is if a second one turns and comes. So we know this guy's ours. Neither of these guys are responding yet. We'll give it just a little more time. Let them finish up any animations that they may be running. They're not coming in. So this guy is toast. We're not going to have to worry about waiting to not spook the herd. Our next set of deer would be down here, so we're far enough away to where we can shoot. So I'm going to hop out of the stand and go get into position to take him out with a rifle. And again, we're on hiker, so I can move a little more quickly. Is it time to call? Yep. So I don't want to go in too hot, even though it's hiker. There he is. So I'm just going to get into a position to where I can take the shot here. Oh, did I turn off hunter sense? Alright. So we're going to let him come on in a little closer if we can. If he starts getting, yeah, we're going to take the shot soon. Wow. Did that really? Okay, there they go. I was going to say, hiker is really forgiving. So we took the shot, dropped him on the spot. I've got deer running around everywhere that doesn't matter. So we'll go pick this guy up. And you'll see again, I focused on really pushing through that lung to get that instant kill. I could go for the heart, but at this range, there was no reason to expect anything less. So 32%, sell him, fly back to the Jeep and move on to the next one. So we'll pause it here and I'll set up again. All right, guys, so we're on to the next one. So the herd we just took out was here. The next one's just right here. This guy, it wasn't him, it was him. He had another zone down here, which we went ahead and cleared out. So there shouldn't be any whitetail here at all for us to check. And this guy, his zone is here, and his other one is all the way down here. So we know we don't have to worry about it. I wouldn't have anyway if he wasn't here. We'd have moved on. So this is one we're looking at now. And you can see him down in here. So we're going to go set up our tower about 200 meters away. I almost drove in too close on him again. I was misjudging how far things are on the map. Alright, so we're up in the air. I'm going to start calling. And then we'll just watch and see if anybody decides to come in. Looks like this guy is. So this is going to be a really effective culling run today. And again, we may pick up more animals from other herds. But the focus is the whitetail. It's going to take a couple calls to get him far enough out to take the shot anyway. Is he going to do the parallel walk? No, I wonder if we got another one coming in. Let's take a look with the camera. Well, that guy's walking completely away now. That's interesting. We may have had a first call bogey. If so, that'll be the first one I've seen in ages. We're definitely going to have to watch these guys closely. So he had went down here to the right. Let's see if we can get good eyes on him. I don't know what he's doing. Oh, there he goes. Okay. So he had just turned and was doing the perpendicular walk. It just happened to be kind of away at the same time. So he's going to be a low fit, I believe. But I don't see any others coming in. So the rest of these are does or high fit, it looks like, unless there's something in the bushes, trees, whatever that I can't see. But this guy looks like he's going to come on in. Well, oh, I better call again. He was over here by this tree. So he should start coming in again. Or not. So he's hanging out right here. Ah, there he goes. So yeah, we'll take him out. but I don't see anything else we have to worry about. And we're definitely far enough away from any other herd, so we don't need to worry about spooking anything. So once we get a clean line of sight on him, interestingly, that was on the timing for a call, so maybe there's one up here coming in. Let's see if we see anything that appears to be coming in up here. Hiding in the bush. Ah, maybe we do. No. Oh, well, there's another one moving. I don't know now. So this guy down here is on the collar. The one up here, I'm not sure yet. So here's this guy. He just told us it's time to call again. So we're going to watch up here and see if we have another one coming out. I'm not sure that we do, but in the interest of being efficient, if we do, we want to give him a chance to come out so we can take him. That's a female. Doesn't seem like he is. I think we just happened to get a call at the same time, maybe. Yeah, these guys are just chilling. Alright, so we're just going to take this guy out. And unfortunately, he just dropped down there. Should be able to get eyes on him. Oh, he's going to stop. Alright, so once he pops up, we'll take the shot on him. And with all this sway, I'll probably just wait until the deer stops coming in. So these guys are not responding, so we're not interested in them. We're not worried about spooking them. Where did this guy go? Oh, he's turned over here. Okay. Well, don't stay behind the tree. There you go. So when he stops with the collar, we'll take that shot and then move on to the next one. Unless he walks behind the tree. Oh, there we go. Another one done. There those guys go. Didn't see this one worked out to where I would have done the same thing if I were doing it the normal way. I would have just taken him up here when I thought he was responding. Let's check his fitness, 41%, so definitely the right type of thing. And we did the lung shot. All as well, a couple $100 in the bank. And that's it. So we still have several more herds to go through. So we got one in here. We got one that could be here, one could be here, one could be here. I think we've done enough to showcase how to do it and how you can leverage the collar, the yardages, and hiker mode in this case, which you can do it on Adventurer. So it does work on Adventurer. Joe had showcased that he was doing it on Adventurer. It doesn't work as well on Hunter. So keep that in mind. If you're playing Hunter or Ranger, I don't think you're going to be able to pull this off nearly as efficiently. But hey, maybe you can get a couple. If they're spaced out well, you can. I did have a little bit of success with them when they were spaced out further. So you can sometimes get lucky. So don't just write it off as a can't do. It's just not as easily done. But we're going to stop here. I think we've showcased everything that we needed to. I hope that kind of explains a way to approach it. Again, probably not the way that I would do it most of the time. I would just out of habit, I would find the one responding, take it, move on to the next. Is it quicker? I don't know. We spent 2 hours, but we took out a lot of deer. We took out a lot of deer in 2 hours. So if we look at our hunter log, Where did we start at here? So in 2 hours, we took out 9 deer. I'm generally in that like 2 per hour range. So there's no chance that I would have taken out 9 deer in 2 hours most of the time. 4, maybe 5 would be more likely. So the efficiency is there. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And we were just taking out low fit after low fit after low fit, which is great for your habitat fitness. So yeah, it's definitely more efficient. I don't normally do stuff on hiker, but if you're looking for an efficient way to clear out your herds, get the fitness up, yeah, hiker's an option, and it works. It works really, really well. And I think if your focus is on improving your herds, not the hunt while you're doing that, then there's absolutely no reason to feel guilty about using hiker. There's no reason to feel guilty about using hiker anyway. It's your game. Play the way you want to play. Play the level you want to play. I personally choose hunter. It's not that I think that I'm too good to play hiker or anything like that. It just feels more natural to me. I don't really like the big cone sticking up and all that whenever you're playing hiker. Oh, the blood's already gone. And it's too hard to spook stuff in hiker. To me, it's just a little, I don't want to say too easy, but there's not enough challenge in it. Maybe, I don't know how to say it without it sounding wrong. It's just not the method I prefer to play. Anyway, I'm going to continue on, and I'm going to continue on in hiker and finish culling out all these whitetails that we had marked here in the grasslands because, hey, I'm in hiker. Why not go ahead and finish it up? But we're going to end the video here. I'm not going to make you guys watch me go through and do a bunch more. It's the same thing. I think you've got as many examples of how it works as I can possibly give you that are worthwhile. At this point, we would just be doing more of the same thing again and again and again. So we went long enough. So we're going to stop here. All right, guys, that's it. Y'all have a... oh, actually, forgot. I'm supposed to ask you guys to subscribe. So please, if you enjoy this type of stuff, do the like and subscribe. It does help out a ton. We're pushing to get to 1,000 subs, and we've got a long ways to go. So the more people who do give the likes and subscribes, the more it helps. So I certainly do appreciate anybody who has. And if you haven't, think about it. Give me a little subscribe here. I would appreciate it. All right, guys, that's it. We're done. Y'all have a good night. God bless, and happy hunting.